Hey Flosstube, thanks for stopping by for a visit. My name is Shiloh and I'm a cross stitcher and knitter living in Nova Scotia, Canada. You can find me on Instagram as @Xstitchmd. So thanks for coming by to visit. It's been a very interesting past 2 weeks in my stitching life. I usually tend to work on a million different projects within a few weeks, but the past 2 weeks I've been fairly monogamous with just sticking with one main project, and I managed to get it finished. So wow, that actually works. Stitching on just one project really helps you get it done. I did work on a couple of other things and I'll show you that. I also have a giveaway today that I'm pretty excited about, so make sure to keep watching for that. I also have some future plans to talk about, and I got my stitching journal in the mail and I've put in a few things in it, so I'm excited to show you that. I didn't do any knitting the past 2 weeks again. It's been way too hot. Very thankful that the weather has been amazing in Nova Scotia this weekend. This is actually a holiday weekend in Canada. Different provinces call the Monday's the holiday, and different provinces call Monday different things. In Ontario, it's called the civic holiday, but here in Nova Scotia, it's called Natal Day. Don't really know why or what that means. I probably should know and look that up. Anyway, so this is a long weekend for us here, and the weather's been amazing. Yesterday it was about 25 degrees Celsius. Today it's supposed to be 30. So I'm really looking forward to getting outside again today. Yesterday was a lot of time spent outside, and more of the same today. So I'm excited. Yay! Yay for warm weather. All right, but let's get started with my stitching. So I did have a finish. So this is a piece that I worked on pretty much exclusively over the past couple of weeks. Once I finished it, I've worked on some other things. This is Sampler aux Fleurs by JARDIN PRIVE, and I am finished it. It's a little bit rolled up because I tend to roll my projects up when I'm done with them. So here it is. And I'm very happy with how this turned out and looking forward to getting it framed. I'm planning on getting it framed in like a brown frame, no matte, just fairly plain. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. It was really fun to stitch. I made I made one main change. So on this alphabet here, there was no letter V. So I added in the V, and that meant that there was no place to put the Z here. So I put it down here in the pot, which I think is really cute. I also noticed after I finished it that there's no J in the top alphabet, but because it's split, I don't really mind. And like, I know it's historically accurate to not have a J or a U because those letters didn't come into existence until later. But when some of the alphabets, like these middle two alphabets, both had all the letters, so it kind of bothered me that the other ones didn't. But I feel like this isn't actually bothering me, so I'm just gonna leave it. Love how this turned out. This is a pretty accurate representation of the color. I stitched this on 36 count marbled little bunny linen by Xstitchmd Design. And the floss color is DMC 632, which is like this reddish brown. It's really lovely. And I used 2 strands over 2 on 36 count. So you can see it's a thicker coverage, but I really like how it looks. And yeah, that's my personal preference. You can definitely choose to use 1 strand if you'd like. I just really like 2 strands. I love all the little details in this, like all the little bugs and butterflies, and it was a lot of fun to stitch. This cute little bunny here, another butterfly. Yeah, so this was really fun. Sampler aux Fleurs by JARDIN PRIVE. Yay, finish! Kind of on a roll. I've had finishes my last 2 videos. Hoping to have another finish my next video too. All right, what else did I work on? So the other project I worked on was Southern Land by Owl Forest Embroidery. And this project, Lori of Mischievous Stitches is also working on. And we're kind of around the same place, I think, at our stitching, and we're also stitching at the same colors and pretty much the same color fabric. So here's where I'm at. And I'm using the DMC colors that are listed in the chart. So the called for are Owl Forest Embroidery threads, which are their own overdyed threads, but they also provided a DMC conversion, and that's what I used. So there's 4 colors, 2 blues, 2 reds. It'd be really easy to convert this to any colors you wanted. And in my mind, this is called the Jellyfish sampler because of these flower pods that look like jellyfish. And I'm stitching this with 2 strands of DMC over 2 on 32 count ivory Belfast linen. This is about halfway across. This motif is the center, so I don't have too much further to go until I'm the full way across, but it's quite a bit bigger. So yeah, really enjoying this one. It's really fun to stitch. It's kind of like, I usually like stitching monochromatic samplers, but it's kind of fun to stitch ones that only have a few colors because you got like the ease of stitching. I sound really weird talking about this, but whatever. The ease of stitching with just like one color, because you can basically always finish off your thread and you don't have all these little bits laying around, but you also get to switch it up with other colors. I don't know if that made sense to anyone else but me, but we'll just go with it. The other pattern I've been working on, this is the one I've been focusing on the last few days, and it's Mary Had a Little Lamb by Barbara Anna Design. And this pattern is from the 2017 Cross Stitch Keepsakes calendar, which is now out of print, and I had posted about it on my Instagram saying it was my unicorn chart. I mean, basically it's my unicorn chart because I saw Country Stitchers. Oh gosh, I can't remember who it was from Country Stitchers stitching it, but anyway, she had shown it on her Flosstube video, and I was like, oh, I need this. So it just became my unicorn chart because I had seen it once and needed it. Anyway, someone from Instagram sent me the calendar, which was so lovely of her. And yeah, so I would keep checking on eBay if you're looking for it, and hopefully it'll come up. Unfortunately, I had contacted Barbara Anna, the designer, on Facebook, and she said that she had sold the rights for the pattern to Cross Stitch Keepsakes, so she can't offer it for sale, which is really sad because it's such a lovely chart. Anyway, that was a really long preamble, basically just to say, look at what I'm working on. So here's where I'm at. I'm using the called for DMC colors, 2/2 on 32 count platinum linen, and it's just so stinking cute. So I've tried something a little bit different. Let me tell you about it. So I was originally stitching each octagon separately. So I was like stitching the octagon and filling it in with all the colors. I did that on this side. On this side, I was like, ooh, why don't I just pick one color and stitch all of that color and like color complete? That sounds kind of fun, right? So the first color I chose to start with was this, which is DMC 640. Finished this, ran out of it, and my Michaels was out of it too. So I was like, well, there goes that idea. But no, I decided to keep doing that. So I've completed this green, the orange, the ecru, no, it's DMC 712, and now I'm working on completing all of the dark brown. It's kind of fun to stitch that way because you get to hop around, but it does mean you do have to count very accurately, which can sometimes be a struggle. But I haven't had to rip out yet, so I'm very proud of that. So this is just so cute. It's pretty tiny. I think it's like 6 by 8 or something like that. But I think it's so, so precious. And I'm hoping for a finish in this week, provided that my Michaels has DMC 640 back in stock. I mean, it probably will. There's actually 3 Michaels within 20 minutes of me, which is really great. So one of them should have it, and that will be this week's mission. Next up, I want to show you some of my plans. So because I only had 3 projects I worked on over the past 2 weeks, I do have some plans for what I want to work on in the next few weeks. The first one that I'm hoping to start soon is Dragons of Sumatra by Ink Circles, and this was sent to me by a friend, which was very sweet of her. She had sent me a bunch of charts. Ink Circles, Dragons of Sumatra. So this is stitched with Gloriana silk floss, but I decided I want to stitch this with sulky threads. So one of my friends is very into dragons, Game of Thrones, all of that, so I want to stitch it for them. And they really like blue versus red, so I'm going to stitch it. So I ordered some sulky threads, sulky thread from 123 Stitch in, can't remember if it's called royal blue or navy blue or something. It's this really beautiful dark blue. And I already had a piece of fabric in my stash, which I think will work perfectly. So this is a 32 count vintage gray Lugana by Zweigart. That's pretty much bang on what the color is. So this with navy blue, I held up like a navy blue DMC against this, and it looked fantastic. So I'm hoping, I got a notification that my package was shipped last week, so I'm hoping that comes soon. So that is my plan, to stitch this on this. I think it's gonna look amazing. It's probably gonna be really hard to give away to my friend. All right, and the other project I'm hoping to work on, pick up again this week is the Homely Houseplant Stitch Along by Xstitchmd. So this was offered as a free stitch along, I think last year. I didn't hear about it until after the stitch along was over, so I ended up just purchasing the chart from her Etsy shop where it's still available, and I'll link that below. All the charts that I'm working on I'll have linked below. And here's where I'm at so far. So I'm stitching this with the called for DMC colors on a 32 count vintage country mocha Belfast linen. And I think this is 3 parts that I've worked on so far. I think there's 12 plants altogether. So I want to pick this back up this week because this should be fairly quick-ish. I mean, it's not ginormous, so it's a reasonable size to finish in the next few weeks. I'm kind of in like a finishing mode lately. Like I have all these projects ongoing and it just feels so good to get them done. So I'm hoping to finish Mary Had a Little Lamb, and then Homely Houseplants will be next up on my list to get finished. And then I'm gonna drop off a whole bunch of things at the framer again. I still have one piece at Michael's that is getting framed. So I had gone to pick it up a couple weeks ago and it was like pretty wrinkled still, so they were gonna redo it. I think I just need to call them because they haven't contacted me, and I'm like, I want it. I want it as soon as it looks good though. I need it to look good. Okay, I think I'm like suffering a little bit of, I don't know, a little bit of giddiness from it being a holiday weekend because I feel like I'm just all over the place. All right, other things. I want to do a shout out to Georgia Stitcher, who are Cindy and Emily. Their mother and daughter team. They just put out their first Flosstube video this past week. Emily is 8 years old and is extremely talented and just super, super cute. So great job, Emily. Your first video was amazing. Cindy is working on, among a bunch of other things, Pandemic by Long Dog Sampler, and she has so much done on it. I think she's the furthest along of anyone I've seen so far. She's got like 6 or 7 pages complete, and it's just beautiful. So I highly recommend you go give them a watch. It's Georgia Stitcher, and I'll link them below. All right, wanted to show you what I got in the mail this week was a stitch journal. So this is not really, I mean, it's sold as a junk journal. And the company, I think, is like Burke Vintage or something. I'll link it below because I can't remember their name offhand. But so I got this journal, and it basically is like a bunch of vintage book pages along with blank pages that you could write on or whatever. But my plan is to use it to put some of my smalls in. So you can get a bunch of like different types of junk journals. There's some like really fancy ones. I wanted a bit more of a plainer one. And I really like how it's just like random book pages. Like, I can't read this because it's backwards, but maybe you can read this, and it's just like, you know, random old books. Like, how cute is that? So I've put in one so far, and I couldn't fit it the correct way because it was too big. But so I put my This Too Shall Pass pattern. This is a free pattern from Bright Needle Designs, and it's available on their Instagram account. I'll link it below. And I stitched this with various overdyed flosses as kind of my own conversion. And I just added a little note about stitching it during the COVID pandemic. So I mounted this on sticky board and then just uses double-sided tape to mount it in here, and it's stuck in pretty good. The only issue I have is that it's pretty thick, and so I don't think that's gonna work if I'm adding in more pieces. So my thought was, I don't really know what to do. I was thinking, I feel like there's some way you can back cross-stitch projects so that it's like nice and tidy. And I was thinking, I don't know if like fusible interfacing is what I'm looking for, where I just want to like iron it on the back so I can trim the edges and it won't fray, and then I can just use double-sided tape to stick it in my book. That's what I'm kind of thinking of right now as what I want to do, because this is really thick, and I mean, it's fine right now, but if I add in a couple more, it's going to be too thick. So yeah, so right now I just want to stitch a whole bunch of smalls to fill up my book, and I'm really excited to put things in it. This idea I got from Michelle Bendy Stitchy, and she has a really beautiful junk journal that one of her followers sent her, and it has all kinds of like lovely embellishments and beautiful things on it. And I need to just go back and watch one of her videos because I feel like she used interfacing, but I can't remember. Anyway, if anyone has any suggestions on how best to like kind of mount my pieces so that I can put them in here without it being super thick, I would really appreciate that. Yeah, but that's my cute little journal. She has a whole bunch of them on her Etsy shop, and it's free shipping to the US and Canada, which is great. I paid $40 Canadian for this book, and it was free shipping, which I thought was awesome. Each of her books is one of a kind, so like this one's sold out, but she has a whole bunch of other ones. Basically, like this is a vintage book that she like took apart and made into a journal. I think it's super cute. So a little shout out to her. I'm assuming it's a her. Oh my goodness. See, this is me just being all scattered. All right, the last thing I have to talk about is a giveaway, and I'm very excited about this giveaway. So last video, I had talked about the silk stitching app, and I had first heard about this from Caroline at Off the Grid Needlearts. She had posted about this, and they have so many awesome charts. And I did misspeak last time because I said that they were PDF downloads, and they aren't PDF downloads. The stitching app itself, when you purchase the chart, it's available in the app. So the app is available on like iOS devices, so like your iPad or your iPhone. I don't think it's on Android yet. And basically the idea is to just stitch it from your device, which is cool. Like I totally do that usually. I'm someone that if I have a paper chart, I tend to like take a picture of it so I can stitch from my phone or from my iPad anyway. So, and then I delete the picture afterwards, of course. But so this is like a genius plan. It's actually kind of similar to those of you that might use Pattern Keeper, like yeah, stitching from a tablet. Anyway, the makers of the app had reached out to me to see if I wanted to give away some patterns, and they also gave me 2 patterns to keep for myself, which I'm so excited about. So here's the 2 designs that I'll be giving away. And here's a little tour of using the app, just so you can kind of see if this is something that you might be interested in. So here's how to use the app. So this is the main page of the app, and you can scroll down to see different patterns. You can tap on preview on the pattern in order to see the pattern itself, and you can click on the different icons in order to change how you want the pattern to be displayed, which is pretty cool. You can also add these lines to help you keep your place, so there's a vertical and horizontal line. Really great for being able to find the center of your pattern as well. You can tap on to see what the called for color is. It's pretty cool. So you can preview any pattern you want. Another great feature is you can adjust the fabric count in order to see what size of linen you'll need, linen or Aida. It does display in centimeters, but it's pretty easy to convert that. You can also tap on the floss color here, and it'll show you how many skeins of floss you'll need. You can also click on more patterns in order to see all the different patterns by that specific designer. There'll be free patterns as well as patterns they have for purchase, and this designer has a lot of really beautiful designs. I'll show you the 2 patterns that I will be giving away. So under the tab My Patterns, we have this one, Nuances number 5, which is this beautiful green pattern, and Pastel number 1, which is these beautiful red shades. So the app itself is free, and they have quite a few free patterns available on the app as well. And then the other patterns are paid patterns, just like you'd pay for like a PDF download or anything like that. So if you'd like to be entered to win one or both of the patterns, if you're like super lucky, I guess. I guess it's possible for the random comment generator to pick the same comment twice. So if you'd like to be entered, so the first pattern is called Nuances number 5, and because it's like a hard word to spell, let's just go with, if you're interested in that, just use the word green in your comment. And if you're interested in Pastel number 1, Rosa, let's go with use the word rose in your comment. So it'll be 2 winners. I'll draw a name in the next couple weeks, open to anyone, obviously, because I don't have to ship it or anything, but even if it was a shipping chart, I still like to ship them anywhere. But anyway, it's open to anyone. You do need to have an iOS device though, so I guess it does kind of exclude Android people, and I'm really sorry. I guess like for Pattern Keeper, it kind of excludes us with iOS devices, but we all just ended up buying Android devices to use Pattern Keeper, right? Anyway, so that's the giveaway for this week. And I'm really excited to get a lot more stitching done. It looks like tomorrow is supposed to be a pretty rainy, miserable day. So since it's a holiday Monday, that means lots of stitching time for me, which I'm excited about. I hope you all are enjoying your weekend, getting lots of stitching done and spending time with friends and family, and that you're all staying safe and healthy. I'll see you again soon. Bye.